Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. We're gonna get through this.
I seen him on something. He look like a bum.
Floyd?
Yeah, he was looking like a bum. Had like he ain't shaved in months.
Oh yeah, I seen that too.
There's no way this man is broke. There's no way.
Yeah.
If he is,
I don't know
where the money went to.
Exactly.
You know what? Yeah, what y'all say earlier?
He ran up $1 billion.
What'd you say?
My first investment was real estate.
Wow.
I went from commercial real estate, huge, skyscrapers actually. So I own what I own.
Bragging now.
No, I'm not
now
bragging.
You're bragging.
No.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
And I'm pointing like this because
Floyd Mayweather's money myth is starting to crack, and this time it's not just critics raising concerns. It's lawsuits, failing businesses, real estate claims that can't be verified, and even his own desperate need to remind the public he still has it. After making false claims about owning real estate that was never fully in his name and all the drama that followed, Floyd Mayweather has now snatched away the partial ownership of the properties. And for a man who's made a career out of flashing wealth like armor, it's getting harder to ignore just how loud the silence has become around his finances. The truth is, the signs are all there. Floyd Mayweather might actually be going low on finances, or at the very least, dangerously close.
Remember you like this. And it gets worse, your jeweler filed a lawsuit against you in Miami. And many are saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets. I hate seeing this happen, bro.
It started with a boast. Mayweather, never shy of exaggeration, claimed earlier this year that he owned 62 apartment buildings in New York City worth over $402 million. Not managed, not invested in, owned. It was supposed to be proof that the man who calls himself TBE wasn't just the best ever in the ring. He was winning even harder in retirement. Real estate, private jets, jewelry collections, all the ingredients of a billionaire playboy untouched by time. But the internet doesn't forget, and real estate filings don't lie.
Into my lifestyle, showing the people how I live. Now, I know you guys see me on a regular talking about real estate. Well, lately, I purchased 62 apartment buildings in New York City. And what I need you guys to do, slide over and check out the photos. It's not all 62 buildings, it's a few buildings, but guess what? All the buildings belong to me. I don't have no partners. And all the retail down low on my buildings all belong to me.
That's where Business Insider stepped in. A scathing May report by the outlet challenged Floyd's claims directly. Investigators could not find any records tying him to ownership of the alleged buildings. No signatures, no legal links. Some were registered under shell companies, a common tactic among the rich. But even then, no hard evidence of Mayweather's actual control. The report didn't say he had nothing. It said his numbers didn't add up. And if there's one thing Floyd hates more than a jab to the mouth, it's a jab to his image.
In 36 months, with one of my new investments, I would be making $300 million a month.
What investment is that?
In real estate. I'm heavy in real estate. Even though I got a lot of cash, OPM. You don't always have to use your money. That's why it's very important for y'all to make sure y'all keep y'all credit right.
So he sued. Not for defamation in some small backdoor court, for $120 million, accusing Business Insider of smearing his name and intentionally trying to destroy his reputation. That move alone sent shockwaves. If he truly had the assets, the more natural response would have been to prove it. Show the titles, list the LLCs. Instead, he lawyered up and went to war over words. That's not confidence, that's damage control.
What I'm doing right now, that's what I do every day. Shop. Ain't nothing like couple bucks. Greg, come with me.
But things didn't stop there. As the lawsuit made headlines, another Mayweather venture began to crumble, this time in plain sight. His gym franchise, Mayweather Boxing Plus Fitness, was supposed to be his global legacy. Hundreds of gyms, all branded with the Mayweather name, promised to turn everyday fitness junkies into fight-sculpted machines. But according to a new Business Insider investigation, the brand is falling apart. More than half of the gyms in the US have closed down, and over $8 million in lawsuits have been filed by former franchisees claiming they were scammed, overcharged, or misled.
My trunks alone, 30 million, just with the patches on my trunks, that's 30 million alone. So who's really the smartest one in the sport of boxing? And they say, well, it's not all about the money. Well, your kids can't eat legacy. They can eat off the currency. If you guys don't want to see me do no exhibitions, don't come, don't watch. I come on record and tell y'all.
They say Floyd's name was used to lure them in, with promises of his involvement, flashy marketing materials, and fake revenue projections. In reality, he allegedly did little more than show up in videos. If that, some franchisees were left bankrupt, their dreams in ruins. The gyms weren't just failing, they were imploding. And Floyd? He wasn't answering questions. Instead, he was ducking behind his lawyers again. For a man who built an entire identity on never getting hit, he's been absorbing some brutal body shots lately.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., there's a story circulating that Business Insider did talking about this $400 million property deal that he had been discussing here in New York City. But now, according to Business Insider, it's not what you think it is. They said there's no evidence there's been a sale of these properties, and it's 62 rental apartment buildings in Upper Manhattan. Here is what Floyd Mayweather...
Stephen A. Smith's remarks were quiet, almost casual, but deadly. It sounds like Floyd might be broke. He's doing too much to keep reminding us he's rich. That sentence hit harder than any Pacquiao punch, because it wasn't coming from a hater, or a blogger, or a bitter ex-sparring partner. It was coming from someone who's watched stars collapse in real time. It was the kind of remark that doesn't get made unless there's smoke behind the curtain.
One of the best investments that I did was New York real estate. So it started off with 7 figures, and I was getting a certain amount of money every month. When I first gave them $5 million, I was getting $50,000 a month. So I said, yo, the money kept coming on the 18th every month. 50,000 would come in. I still was competing, I still was fighting, I still was active, and I still was making crazy money.
Even Floyd's attempts to defend himself have felt strangely off. In one Instagram post standing beside one of his jets, he said, "If this is what being broke looks like, I want to stay broke." That would have landed in 2015. In 2025, it sounded hollow. People aren't impressed by jets anymore. The controversy doesn't stop at real estate and fitness. Behind closed doors, the whispers are growing louder. Sources close to Mayweather's circle say he's spending more than he earns, that his property taxes alone are draining him, that he hasn't adjusted his lifestyle one bit since retirement. He still travels with a massive entourage, still shops like he's mid-camp for McGregor, still acts like the money will never run out, but unless he's hiding $1 billion secret, it's hard to see how this lasts.
You know what's crazy? People are always in my fucking business, worried about what I'm doing, what Floyd is doing, what Floyd ain't doing, what I do got, what I don't got. Just know.
There's also talk about his jewelry, the infamous $1 billion watch collection that's supposedly worth more than most athletes make in a lifetime. But experts say watches, especially custom pieces, don't hold their value unless they're museum grade. In fact, many depreciate the moment they're bought. So unless Floyd's quietly liquidating, most of those are liabilities, not assets. Same with the cars, same with the mansions, same with the jets. What's most telling isn't what Floyd is doing, it's what he's not doing. He's not investing publicly in new ventures. He's not launching new brands. He's not announcing tech partnerships or expanding his empire. He's in defense mode. And when a man like Floyd, who's addicted to the spotlight, suddenly starts playing it safe, you know something's wrong.
Things may not be how they seem. So a couple weeks back, I talked about it here on the show. Floyd Mayweather said he dropped $402 million on 62 Manhattan rental buildings. But Business Insider went and did the research. They did their Googles, and they said they couldn't find any receipts that this is true. There were no deed transfers, no public records, nothing. They made some phone calls to owners, and they could not find any information regarding this.
At this point, it's not even about whether Floyd is broke today. It's about where the trend is headed. He's fighting aging, lawsuits, bad PR, and collapsing business ventures all at once. He's doubling down on lawsuits instead of innovation. He's flexing old assets instead of building new ones. And worst of all, he's losing the one thing he always had in his corner: silence. Because once people start doubting the king's crown, even his richest lies start to sound cheap. So maybe he still has the jets, maybe he still has some buildings, maybe his checking account would still make a CEO blush. But the question isn't what's left, it's how long will it last? And if this is how Floyd Mayweather handles pressure now, it's not hard to imagine a future where the money finally runs out. Not with a bang, but with a long, slow fade.
62 apartment buildings in New York City.
So embarrassing. Floyd, you're 50 years old. You're a legend in the sport. I've stood up for you in countless interviews, including Shannon Sharp's podcast last week. But you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these exhibitions. I know life is hard. I know life is expensive. But come on, dude, put your...
Behind the flashy Instagram reels and exotic vacation shots, there's a growing chorus of voices suggesting the empire may be cracking, and none louder than from the sport that once built him. What started as quiet concern has escalated into public accusations, especially from names who have either fought beside him, worked with him, or stood on the business end of his legendary marketing machine. And the most cutting remarks? They're not coming from random detractors. They're coming from peers like Amir Khan, industry leaders like Eddie Hearn, and even the rising generation who once admired his hustle. All of them, in different tones, are beginning to say the same thing. Floyd Mayweather may no longer be as rich or as stable as he claims.
Not just 400 million, so it's a lot more, but that's just one of the portfolios I happen to purchase in 2024.
Wow. And that's how it's blossoming?
Well, you know, the number is growing each and every day. Like I said, the number is growing each and every day. That's one of my buildings in Manhattan. And as you can see, everything down bottom, from top to bottom I own, all the way down. And I'm truly, truly blessed.
Yeah.
When Amir Khan stepped forward to say Mayweather was facing bankruptcy, the boxing world didn't quite know how to take it. Khan framed it as the natural result of karma, an accumulation of years of flaunting wealth, disrespecting other fighters, and aligning himself politically in controversial ways. What made Khan's attack different was the conviction with which he said it. He didn't speak in hypotheticals. He called it out like it was common knowledge, saying, "It's sad to see Floyd like this, he's going through bankruptcy." Not speculation, not rumor, a statement. And while Khan didn't provide documents, he did something arguably more dangerous to Floyd's image. He sounded like he believed it.
You know, I didn't have to have 70 fights or 150 fights, 300 fights. Did I not beat the most world champions?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And in the least amount of fights?
Yes, you did.
Who got the highest gate?
Floyd Mayweather.
Who made the most money?
You did.
Who was the most accurate fighter of all time?
You were.
So it's basically saying that...
The greatest of all time.
Okay.
All right.
Khan also tied the allegations to Floyd's recent political endorsements, especially his sudden public support for Israel. In Khan's view, that shift wasn't ideological, it was transactional. He's getting paid to support Israel. They 100% offered him money, Khan claimed. That's a serious charge, one that suggests Floyd's political voice is now for sale. Whether that's true or not, the implication is clear. If Mayweather is taking paychecks just to stand beside flags, it's not because he believes in causes, it's because he needs the money. And if that's even partially true, it undermines the entire image of Mayweather as a man above financial pressure.
It's crazy that everybody keep asking me, why you not coming back to fight? Why you not coming back to fight? So I look at the fight game, I said, okay. I said, you know, fighters fighting, they make 3 million, 4 million, 6 million, 7 million. Some may make 10 or 20 million, but I'm doing exhibitions and I'm making 20, 25 million, 100 million for exhibitions. So why would I come back and fight and get...
But Khan didn't stop at political motives. He leaned into the rumors that Floyd had gotten in legal trouble in Dubai, mentioning a supposed arrest, house arrest, and issues with bouncing checks. He admitted he didn't have documents to back it, but doubled down by saying, "I heard it from people in the government." That kind of hearsay might not hold up in court, but in the court of public opinion, especially with Floyd's already bruised image, it only added fuel to the fire.
So just in New York alone, I got 9 skyscrapers. And Andrew Mathias, you know, great business guy. This is what he told me one day. We took a walk. We was in New York. We was taking a walk. He said, "You see that building right there?" He said, "Yeah." We said, "We own that. You see this building? We own it." So we was walking and walking. Then he said, "You know, a boxer makes money when he boxing. A football player makes money when he playing football. Basketball player makes money when he playing basketball." He said, "But New York real estate, you make money when you sleep."
Then came Eddie Hearn, a man whose words carry weight in both boxing and global sports. Hearn's remarks weren't laced with personal bitterness or wild speculation. They were cold, professional, and precise. He pointed to the nature of Floyd's post-retirement exhibition career, constant, unending, and increasingly underwhelming. Why, Hearn asked, would a man who calls himself a billionaire keep returning to the ring against influencers, unknown fighters, and non-boxers? The answer, he hinted, is simple: because Mayweather can't afford not to. It's not that he wants to fight, it's that he has to.
Into late 40s now, still fighting these random people in random places.
Yeah.
For 5 million here, 10 million there.
No, he's just a big spender. You can't spend like that, you know? Like,
this guy has a lot of chains.
so many chains, bro. That's, chains, that's a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
Get yourself something that'll hold value.
Hearn's criticism stung enough that Floyd publicly responded. He confronted the narrative directly from one of his gyms, mocking the idea that he was broke and trying to reassert control, but the very need to respond to one promoter's comment said more than Floyd intended. For a man who built his brand on the notion that criticism rolls off his back, this was a shift. He wasn't brushing it off. He was defending his financial standing like a man who knows it's slipping away.
Surprised at all. It's
Mayweather.
It's who he is. I've always thought that he's a horrible person, and this is every bit of proof.
People don't like Floyd.
You start a business, but I need
People
you guys
do
to
not like somebody who's gonna just constantly show money.
Meanwhile, the cracks in his brand are no longer theoretical. They're showing up in court documents, franchise closures, and failed ventures. The Mayweather boxing plus fitness franchise, once touted as a global fitness revolution, is now in shambles. More than half the locations in the US have shut their doors. Lawsuits are mounting. Franchisees are suing for millions, claiming they were misled, overcharged, and abandoned. Some say they bought in thinking Floyd would be involved, only to find he was nowhere to be seen once the checks cleared. If that wasn't enough, others are accusing the brand of inflating revenue projections and failing to provide adequate support.
I told the guys, well, I'm gonna bring y'all another 8 figures. I said, I'm gonna bring you guys 8 figures now. I know I gave you guys 7 figures, but I'm gonna bring you guys 8 figures. It was paying off. So what I did was, I went and dumped 9 figures on them. When you see me, you see the cars, you see the flashy. It's a lot that comes along with that. A lot of smart moves that's behind the scenes.
These aren't trolls on Twitter. These are business owners who bet their savings on Mayweather's name and lost. Some have declared bankruptcy. Others are locked in litigation, and all of it is documented. The scale of the fallout is immense, and it's not just about the money. It's about the erosion of trust. Mayweather's name is no longer a guarantee of success. It's now a warning sign.
You know, I got my own liquid, and if you, that means cash. For those, I break it down in layman's terms. Even though I got a lot of cash. OPM.
Okay.
OPM. You don't always have to use your money. That's why it's very important for y'all to make sure y'all keep y'all credit right.
Talk to us about that.
Very important.
And then there's the broader financial picture. Mayweather's lavish lifestyle hasn't slowed. He's still flying private, still buying million-dollar watches, still traveling with a massive entourage. But unlike his peak years, the income streams to support that lifestyle are no longer reliable. The massive pay-per-view fights are gone. The mainstream endorsements are quiet. The exhibition fights are diminishing in hype and payout. And the real estate empire he claims to have, 62 buildings worth $400 million, has yet to be proven. In fact, the lawsuit he filed against Business Insider for questioning that very claim may end up backfiring if he's forced to produce evidence in court.
Yeah, as you often say, you're just a guy with a job. I have a job, though. So who would you fight next?
And guess what? Your job don't pay like my job.
Well, it depends.
Your job don't pay like my job.
That brings me to another point. Why are you coming back?
I can make $200 million in 18 months because I want to. Because I want to come back and steal some more money. Is that okay with you?
It's fine. Okay. I enjoy watching your fights.
Okay.
Who might be next?
It doesn't matter.
There's also the IRS. While no current liens have been confirmed in public databases, Mayweather's history with unpaid taxes is well known. In 2017, he owed the IRS $22 million and reportedly delayed payment until after the Conor McGregor fight. That kind of tax debt doesn't just disappear, it accumulates with penalties and interest. If Floyd is behind again, or even cutting it close, it could explain why he's been more aggressive in pushing new ventures, fighting unknowns, and suing media outlets. Desperation isn't always loud. Sometimes it's calculated. Even among fans and followers, the sentiment is shifting. Reddit threads, YouTube comments, and boxing forums are filled with speculation. Many argue that Mayweather's lifestyle is unsustainable.
Mayweather did. It's really a trick. He gets these people to box with him. They have no business boxing with him, and he's making millions and millions of dollars doing this way after his competitive career is over. That money, that money has to keep coming in if you're going to live like this.
It's absolutely, he needs money.
You think he's going
Once
broke?
again, come on. Fighters like that always go broke.
Others point to the volume of his exhibitions as evidence of a man trying to keep up appearances. Some bring up the IRS again, saying that if he wasn't behind on taxes, he wouldn't be taking fights that damage his brand just for a check. One particularly viral comment said, "Floyd used to own the room. Now he just rents it out to keep the lights on." What's remarkable is how quickly the narrative has turned. It wasn't long ago that Mayweather was seen as the smartest businessman in boxing history, someone who gamed the system, maximized his earnings, and walked away undefeated. But now, that same system seems to be closing in on him. His credibility is in question, his ventures are failing, and his money, once the stuff of legend, is suddenly under a microscope.
We're upwards of $800 million. And my money is still making money. And as far as in real estate, I made smart investments. And I can think I got somewhere upwards of $1.2 billion in real estate as of right now, but just smart investments. Like I said before, I'm just truly blessed, and I'm thankful for all the people that went out and bought pay-per-view all those years.
What about the TNT gear? That's selling great.
I think right now with the money team and the movement, we're making.
Mayweather has always said, hard work, dedication. But in 2025, it looks more like damage control, litigation. He's not expanding his empire. He's trying to hold it together. And as more people step forward with doubts, lawsuits, and warnings, the weight of his own persona may finally be too heavy to carry. He built an image of invincibility. But the more he tries to prove he's still on top, the more the world sees a man trying not to fall. The question is no longer whether Floyd Mayweather is broke. It's why so many people, peers, promoters, partners, and former allies, are now saying he might be.